Okay, so let's start with the face first. Now, to make it very simple, what I'm gonna do is just quite literally add a little bit onto a tray like that. You only need a drop or two, and I find it easiest and best way to work with the Ecoline like that, unless you wanted to create some effects, abstract effects, then straight from the pipette it would be absolutely fine. But when I'm working with it like with watercolor, I would just add it a little bit onto, mind you, I need a smaller brush. Yeah, so I would add a little bit onto a tray like so, and then just think about the areas where I want it, this color. I think it has more effect, in my opinion, when there is not that much of it. So think of the areas where there would be darkness and shadow, and use it that way. It's good to get to give the nose a bit of a shape, so I tend to use it like that. And that's probably it. And then the neck is quite important as well. So this time I'm doing it quite light-handed. As you can see, I'm not using too much of the color. I can always go back in later and add some more if I wanted to. So quite minimal. You can build it up more if you wanted to, but again, whatever you're in the mood for. I recommend building up once the first layer is dry, because if you build up when it's still wet, as it is a dye-based watercolor, what will happen is it kind of flows in and you lose gradients. You can see here I have no gradient there, although I did pull it out with water, but it just tends to, the dye seems to settle equally into the wet area, like disperse equally. Whereas with pigment-based products, you get these beautiful textures and blossoms and blooms, and also light to dark variation. So keep that in mind. So wait for it to dry up and then build up with a second layer for more intensity, and that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so now we go back in here. I'm not adding anything, and then just dab in more of the color where you just want it a little extra. So right on the edge of the nose here. Like so. And a bit here on the neck as well, just tiny bit. Like that. And just think a little bit on the forehead just to fill up a bit more color there. Alright, so that's it. Don't need to do anything else. That's my skin tone done for now. What I would do next is kind of do her makeup. And makeup, again, this is super simple. All we need is blush, lip and eye. So for the eye, I'm not going to do anything because we have the shadow part there ready. I'm going to leave it nude, but for the eye, I have absolutely loved this combo of these two pencils. So it's the dark indigo and pink white. And basically all I do is, it needs to be really sharp because we're working with a small area there. So I'm just going to sharpen it to really super fine point. It might even break off as it's so fine, but with a very light-handed motion, I'm just going to add the tiniest amount right into the corner and then blend it out. So build it up right at the edge of the line and then start tipping it off. So I think there's some water here, so I'm just going to dry this bit. So you can see now how it dries in lovely, lovely layers. I'll bring it up to you just to show you that beautiful difference you get with dye-based watercolor versus a pigment-based. So if I wanted to build up this, I can still do that. Add third layer, and that will again even intensify this. So all you need to do is just set it quickly. So I'll show you, this is now the third layer, and you can still see the edges of it, which I think looks lovely, and I just added some here as well. So you can continuously do that to build up a stronger color, and I really love this sort of a style. Okay, back to the pencil. So again, now it's nice and dry, and we're just going to build up just the very corner of it. And now take the white and go slightly over the grey or the black, the dark indigo. And same thing here. And what happens is you pull out this kind of bluey color. So when you look at the eyes, they kind of look like a mix between grey and blue, but it's like an indigo blue rather than a blue. And I really like this. I'll show you again a nice close-up so you can see the white, the pink white creates a nice mix with the dark indigo. So for the lip, now I would have to audition something, and I'm thinking, so having thought of it, the best thing to do with the cheek and the lip is actually doing the hair and the outfit first, so you have these base colors, because those are the colors that I have decided on, and then we can match the lip and the cheek color to it. So let's start with the marine blue, which is that beautiful turquoise. So what we need to do for this part of the illustration is wet the hair like so. So the hair area, and then into that we're going to add this beautiful color, and literally I'm just going straight in, and look at that. The rest will just happen naturally. I can also sometimes put it in the bottom here, but if the color or the water has settled in there, it might be quite strong. But here it's always very easy to want to start kind of maneuvering things with your brush, but I really recommend you leave it. Just leave for the magic to happen on its own. And then I'm going to do the same on her ponytail, just like that. And again, touching it where I want it most saturated, and hopefully it would just kind of flow out a bit more. If not, in this case, you may want to just pull it out just ever so slightly, and then just blend it out with clean water so you get a lovely gradient if you wanted to. Alright, so I'll leave it at that, and then let's do the fun bit, which is also the dress part of it. So with the dress, I'm going to just create these kind of scribbly effects, and you really don't need that much because acrylic ink is quite strong. It's super pigmented, so a few lines really would be enough because you want to keep the darkness of these kind of feathery elements, like so. And I will leave it at that. Alright, so apologies if you can hear any noise, but we have someone to look at the fireplace. Okay, so now that we have done the color, you could see how easy this was. It's just pure joy, and it's great also for those times when you feel uninspired because there isn't too much work that it's involved, but it is quite contemporary and it's got definitely a style there, so it's quite visually pleasing is how I would describe it. So now we are ready to look at colors, and I'm thinking you know, we can audition a couple of things, like a red would definitely be good. You can see it's popping beautifully here. A red would be also pretty, but it's a bit where here it's just popping, so I'm quite liking, so I'm gonna definitely put it down. I could audition like a pinky, like a cool tone red, not loving it as much. Then there is this one, which is crimson and alizarin. That's also a nice color, so I could audition that. I could try something nude. I think that would work nicely as well. And a pink, like a bluey pink, that also works quite well. I've got a few options here, so that might be a bit too much. The blue pink works well. Okay, so I've got quite a variety here, and I'm just going to show you again quite quickly what would work best in my opinion. This seems to work best, so I'm gonna go with that, but just in case, I am also going to swatch out these two colors here, just to keep a kind of like a memo to myself. Okay, so here is my color of choice. Maybe I will change my mind. Let's see. So here is the beautiful red, popping red. So this darker red, it's kind of a bit too muted. Let's try this blue toned pink. I will tell you or show you all the names. So that's quite cute as well. I think that's like a girl color, like makes her look a bit more sort of innocent and cute, and then the red kind of makes her this strong, powerful woman. Same thing with the nude. That's also really innocent and pretty, but kind of would blend in a little bit too much with the skin tone. So now we'll go ahead and title them and then come back and we'll do the lip and we'll finish. Okay, so here are the numbers or the colors titled. So we've got Scarlet, Crimson Alizarin Hue, which was that slightly more muted red. Then we have the blue toned pink, which is Hibiscus Pink, beautiful color. And finally Herculaneum Red. So those were the options, and like I said, I think that Scarlet is speaking to me more today, and I'm going to pop this color in and build it up. But what I also can do, which I have done in this lip as well, use the darker color to just do the edges of the lip. So just build it up in the middle with Scarlet, and then have my brush ready, and make sure you don't go into the wet area, into the dry. Okay, and then take the darker color, again make sure it's nice and pointy because we're working with really small area, and then just around the edge if you don't like it, you can always try to cover it up. But look, what it's creating is this kind of Kylie Jenner pout. It's just basically using darker outline like so. It's a very mild change, but it does finish up the lip nicely. I can build it up a bit thicker, and then over that line I'll go in and blend a bit more of the scarlet red. So now the lip is quite pouty. So I hope you can see that. Right here. Okay, so you saw how simple it was. It's really kind of fun because also the page looks quite animated. We have different colors. We have something to look at as a finished kind of product, but also we can refer to the colors really quickly for our future artwork. And yeah, I mean, I find this sort of exercise really inspiring, and I have to say, I feel more inspired than I felt in the entire month of May. I just feel excited about all of these colors, and before I looked at all of my supplies and I felt no inspiration whatsoever, and it's fine, it can happen, but I think the key is to try and get out of it as soon as you can. You don't want this state to be prolonged. So yeah, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this format of a video. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon.